Okay, so I am finally back from my trip. Of course, if you don't know, we took about a week off and went down to Egypt. That was a very nice and beautiful trip, but unfortunately when I came back, I got very sick, one of the worst sicknesses I've ever had. And it took about a week of being sick, and then it was another week of basically recovery. And now I'm about 90% back. I'm getting back into the gym and things of that nature. So I'm getting back there. I'm getting back to the swing of things. I'm getting back to actually doing some physical labor again and things of that nature. So sorry about there hasn't been a farm video in a while, but now we're back and we're gonna start off strong with the video that I promised you a while ago, which is the professional homeowners slash ranch owners slash property owners, basically their folders belt. So I'm gonna show you what I use when I'm out here doing logging, what kind of system I use, and you can, I guess, tailor it according to your own needs. Okie dokie, so let's get into this. So first of all, oh yeah, I should probably mention as well that this is what I use. So this may not work for you, but this is what has worked for me, and I've been doing this for about 4 years now on my own property, and this is what has worked for me the best. So this is what I run anyway. So you will have to tailor this, I guess, according to your own needs. But this is what I use anyway. So first of all, the belt that I use is a Grizzly Peak Enterprises logging belt. This is made up in Idaho by the guys over at Grizzly Peak. And this is the belt that the Pacific Northwest firefighter sawyers and loggers use up there. This is it right here, or at least a very similar belt. Now why I like this is because it has aluminum grommets, which is good for hanging stuff off of there, like your logger's tape or your scrench tool or whatever. And then also I really like how thick and sturdy the belt is. I mean, of course you all know how a leather belt feels, but this, if you'd feel this, you would definitely know that this is something that would hold up in the worst conditions. It's very hard to explain, but when you just feel it. You just feel that this is a very nice and sturdy belt. So yeah, that is the belt that I use. Now, if you're gonna buy this, there's a couple of things that you definitely wanna do. Now, first of all, this is gonna come untreated. So you definitely wanna treat the leather with some type of oven-off oil or something. Now, personally, I added on, I don't remember what kind of oil, but I added on a type of leather oil, and that's gonna protect the belt from the environment. So if you don't add, if you add that oil onto here, that's gonna increase your belt's life expectancy dramatically. Then I guess we're gonna go from least important, or from most important to least important, at least how it goes for me. Now, secondly, definitely this is the second thing, or this is definitely number one besides your logging belt, which you should always carry when you're running a chainsaw. A first aid kit, or at the very least a tourniquet. Now personally, I have ran a first aid kit since I started. I have never gone out sawing without my first aid kit. And now I kind of changed that up. Now I'm only carrying a tourniquet with me, basically just to save weight. But personally, I would recommend running a full first aid kit, but at the very least a tourniquet. So this is the tourniquet which I have. I have it in this pouch right here. It's very easy. It's very easy to access it. Yeah, it just goes in there, this closes, and it threads onto your belt from here. So yeah, but it's very easy to access it when you need it, because if you are using your saw and you cut your femoral artery, you have about a minute to live if you don't get some pressure on there. So that's why a tourniquet is a life safety tool when you're out chainsaw. Third most important is a chainsaw tool. Now, a chainsaw tool, or well, more specifically known as a scrench tool, is very important whenever you're running your saw and say your chain jumps off your bar or something like that. Without this tool, if you go into the brush and you don't have this tool with you, you can be out of commission straight away. But if you have this tool on you, you will be able to, you can guarantee your saw's, your work capability with this. So yeah, I mean, it's a very small, I guess you could say it's a very like small thing, which a lot of people overlook, but this is something, if you don't have this, you can be out of commission straight away. So this is definitely something which I would recommend. Now, a little mod which I would recommend doing to your scrench tool is drill a hole into it and put it on a clip. Why on a clip? Well, as I already mentioned, your belt is gonna have the grommets on there if you buy this belt. And then you can hang it off your belt like this, and then you will always have it on you. So yeah. Another option, which I personally started adopting more and more, is just have a pouch for your scrench tool. Now this is actually a grenade pouch, but which I kind of modded to fit my scrench tool through the bottom. And this is very nice because I can also, in addition to my scrench tool, I can also fit bar nuts in there and things of that nature. Just some extra stuff which you may lose in the brush. A small little forest axe. Now, of course, a forest axe is not gonna replace this, but if you're just moving small rounds, like if you're doing firewood like me, you can just hit this on the end of your, if you have a sharp axe, you can just hit your axe on the end of your log and then just pull it up with your axe in one hand and then your arm in the other, and kind of carry it like this. That's what I have adopted. And plus, an axe is very nice because you can pound wedges in, which I really like to use wedges. I personally like that more than a katorauta or vänkeri. I like axes and wedges more because I can carry it on my person, I guess. But yeah, and also an axe is nice, so you can knock off small branches if you have already limbed the tree and you're stacking them, and you see a small branch, you can very easily knock it off with your axe instead of having to start up your saw again and just for a small branch. So you can use your axe instead. And of course, you'll have to have a way of carrying the axe. Is the Grizzly Peak Enterprises their axe scabbard. I really like this axe scabbard. It's a very nice axe scabbard. Your axe fits in there perfectly. And seeing as it's aluminum, it's not gonna dull your axe if it fits inside. And then this fits on a 2-inch belt and everything, so it's very nice. The only problem which I have with it is it rattles like hell, but that's the only problem which I've seen with this axe scabbard. So yeah, but I really like it because it's gonna ride off it's gonna be at the 5 o'clock position on the side of you by your dominant hand. So you can essentially unsheave and unsheave it with one hand. So it's a very easy axis. When you use this, it's very easy access, so you don't need to use both of your hands. So I guess you could have your saw in one hand and then you can pull this out with the other, you know. So yeah, this is what I use. I really like it. Again, haven't been able to run it too much yet, but I have run it enough to say that this is my favorite way to run my axe. Now, third and finally, wedges. Now, again, I already mentioned that I don't really like to use vänkäreitä, you know, those things which you put into the tree after you've made your back cut, and then you can pull it up and then you can push over the tree. I personally don't like to use them. I find them a bit cumbersome, and plus you don't really have a way of carrying it on your person. So I just like axes. I just like to have a pounder and wedges. So what I would recommend for wedges, first of all, have at least 2 wedges always at hand. One, if you only have one, that's better than nothing. But 9 times out of 10, when you're felling a tree and you need to put a wedge in, most likely you're gonna need another wedge. So that's why I always carry at least 2 wedges on me. So what I would recommend for wedges is, I would recommend have 2 big wedges and then 2 small wedges. Then you want to get some sort of small little pouch for the wedges. This is what I have. I have this steel pouch right here. This perfectly fits 3 small wedges. If you really want to ball out, you can get 3 big wedges and 3 small wedges, but 2 of both is just adequate. But you can, in this steel pouch, you can run 3 small wedges or 2 big wedges. like that. Now these are a bit thicker, but if you buy the steel wedges, you can fit them just perfectly in here, because as you can tell, this one I had to cut down to be able to fit it in here. But if you buy the steel wedges, they perfectly fit inside of this pouch right here. So yeah, that's the pouch which I use anyway. Firstly, we want to add on the axe and scabbard, because we want that to ride off our dominant hand. So we're going to add that onto there. Then secondly, I'm going to add my first aid kit or my tourniquet. I like that to be right next to my axe scabbard, so then it's again riding off of my dominant hand, and then if worst comes to worst, then I get a chainsaw wound. It's very easy to reach back there and get it. Then on my non-dominant hand, I'm gonna add my wedge pouch. So essentially I can grab my axe with my other hand and my wedge with my other hand. So that's what I like. So I'm gonna add that there. Then I'm gonna add my scrench tool over here. And then there you go. That is basically it all fully set up. Now, of course, people are gonna ask about a logging tape. Now, personally, I don't run a logging tape that often, basically just for the fact of I don't do dimensional lumber and stuff like that, and I don't need to measure my logs, so I don't run a logging tape that often. But if I do, I have this one, and I usually run it net on my right side, because I'll be limbing on my, I'll have the tree trunk on my right side, limbing on the right side, so it's very nice, so it runs back on the right side, so it doesn't wrap around my body basically. But I'm not gonna add that on just because of I don't run it that often, and if you're a professional homeowner, most likely you're not gonna run it that often if you don't have a whole lot of big trees, I guess. And just for a demonstration, I'm just gonna put it on so you can see how everything looks like this. As you can tell, my hands are free. I have perfect movement from my hands, nothing gets in the way of me. But this is basically how I wear it. So I have my scrench tool here, got my wedges right here, got my first aid kit or my tourniquet right there, then I got my axe and scabbard right here. And this is what I mean, that I can just unsheath it with one hand. So if I have something in my other hand, like my saw or something, I don't need to put it down and try to reach back here. I can just pull it out with one hand and put it back in with one hand. So yeah. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this little video about how to set up a logging belt. So of course, I'm just gonna say this once again. I'm not gonna call this a perfect professional homeowner's logging belt setup. But again, this is what I use, this is what I've used for a while, and you may not agree with this. You may think that this is a too cumbersome or too stupid system, but this is what has worked for me, and this is what I continue using in my future logging adventures. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.